Seven Nation Army couldn't hold me back.
Welcome to the Heat versus the World podcast.
And
now, stand up and make some noise for your host, Joel Jacob.
What's going on, y'all? Wait, nah, hold up. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Heat vs. the World podcast. As always, I'm your host, Joel Jacob. We ain't got no plastic bags with us today, and the reason why is because the Heat won yesterday, y'all. The Heat won. And I don't care, man. I don't care what y'all expectations are for the remainder of this series. I don't care about none of that. Only thing that matters to me is that if y'all have broomsticks going into this series, well, first of all, I ain't gonna say nothing back to my Heat fans out there. You know, I got my bird going crazy on the side. But to my Heat fans, I never got nothing to say bad against y'all. Well, most of the times I usually don't. But to all the Celtics fans, and you know who you are, all the non-Heat fans out there, Kendrick Perkins, and all you other losers. So all y'all who went out there talking about we was finna get swept, take them brooms and shove it where it hurts. Anyways, y'all, the Heat handled business last night, and I'm feeling good because everyone had a good game, man. Bam Adebayo did his thing, bro. I'm so happy because this is what we know he's capable of doing, bro. And the fact that he was able to get his buckets while also being able to play, you know, elite defense against some of these heavy hitters you got against Boston, that's something that we don't. So, well, we've talked about this a lot on the pod, but some that a lot of people really don't want to acknowledge because you have people saying, oh, well, why can't Bam do this and that? You know, and it's like when you're doing so much of the defense and so much, you know, on that end, you know, sometimes it's not easy to then take on the burden on the offensive end as well. But last night he went out and he did his thing. I think what was it, 21-10? Is that the correct stat line for him?
I'll double check. Keep going.
Yeah, so, you know, big shout outs to Bam. And, you know, we're going to talk a lot more about him going into the show. I also want to quickly talk about some of these other players as I give my opening thoughts. Want to give my flowers to Tyler because every time I hop on, it seems like I'm giving him his lashings. And does he deserve it? Yes. However, last night he played great, and I cannot help but, like, you know, I have to acknowledge it. I mean, what was it? 24 points, 14 assists, and the dude was cooking last night, and I'm happy to see that, all right? People are saying, you know, we owe him an apology, and listen, flowers to you for that great game, man, and I'm happy because we're not getting swept, but I need to see this moving forward, all right? Because we still got 3 more wins to get, and I'm not about to be like, oh, my gosh, I was so wrong about Tyler Herro after one game. I love the performance last night, but I need you to keep this up, bro. But thank you so much because that was phenomenal last night. So big ups to Tyler Herro, and I really hope to see more of it because that's what we really need from him. So big shout out to Tyler. I also want to give my props to the Eastern Conference Finals MVP runner-up from last year, Caleb Martin, because the dude was out there and was on a heater too. He finished the game with 21 points. And it's great because I don't know if y'all noticed, but the crowd was booing Caleb. No matter how much they was booing him, he was still hitting bucket after bucket. So y'all can keep doing y'all things. Because if y'all still think that we was responsible for all that nonsense, you got that crap, that white guy over there on Boston talking about, oh, you know, it's a code red or whatever they doing, blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? Caleb came into y'all house last night and stole y'all home court advantage. So I want to hear it. So keep booing him. Do whatever y'all want. But that's what y'all going to get from Caleb every night, hopefully at least. And, you know, overall, I also want to give my flowers to one's a rookie, one's a sophomore, but still Jaime and Jovic both did their thing last night too. And overall, man, it was just a collective effort to get this win, man. And you know, like I said, we still got 3 more to go, but you cannot feel, you know, what's what I'm looking for. You cannot feel discouraged or anything after last night because that performance was amazing. And I know people going to talk about, oh, we hit all these threes, and you know what? Can we sustain that moving forward? Because in case y'all missed it, I think we hit I think it was 23 triples, I believe, which is a franchise record playoff wise. So, and listen, I'm not saying we gonna hit all them threes moving forward, but shoot, this is Boston, man. When it's time to go out there and do our thing, Miami's always gonna light it up. So while they might not exactly get 25 triples or whatever in the game for the remainder of this series, I expect them to go out there and play Heat basketball and continue to, as you said, Kay, in that last episode, punch them. And, when they feel that blow, they're not going to know what to do, especially Jason Tatum, because the brother was stinking it up at the end. How you only going to take one shot in that fourth quarter? I do not know. But I've been talking for almost 5 minutes now. I don't want to just hog the mic for the whole show. I'm going to pass the mic to you, Kay. How we feeling today?
Look, man, when we first got on pre-production right before the pod, I came on my normal self, and I was doing the things that I normally do before the podcast, which is none of y'all business. But with that being said, Joel kind of, questioned me. He was like, "What's up, Kay? I thought you'd be more excited after game 2 in." And, I casually looked up from, what I was doing. Again, which y'all don't need to know nothing about. And I told him I expected it, man. I mean, it's kind of like I've been saying for the last couple of months. This Boston Celtics team isn't as good as the world thought they was. Now, they're still capable of beating the Miami Heat, but the thing that we found out in game 2 that I knew, especially with Jimmy Butler and Terry Rozier in the lineup, but even if you just came out and played your brand of ball, is they can be beat too. Now, the key for me is this. A lot of people are pointing to the Miami Heat's three-point shooting, but it was so much bigger than that. Yeah, the three-point shooting helped a ton. It kept them in spaces where they could control the game and play the way they wanted to, but it also kept them in a safe space from the point of not having to worry about Boston running off on them. Now, with that being said, you also look at Bam Adebayo, and back to Joel's point, Bam Adebayo finished the game 9 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 6 from the free throw line. He needs to tighten that up. But again, that was 21 points, 10 total rebounds, and 2 assists. While guarding Kristaps Porzingis, Jason Tatum, what's the other boy name that can't dribble the ball? I can't think his name right now. Jaylen Brown. Yeah, Jalen. Yeah, Drew Holiday. I mean, Bam guarded Joe Mazzulla, the water boy, the people that mop the floor. He guarded everybody. And like you said, he still did that while he was able to be one of the Miami Heat's most crucial offensive players. It's tough to call him the best. I don't call him or Tyler the best. And last night, they were both amazing because even though Tyler did something we never seen him do, which was play efficiently and be that prime playmaker without turning the ball over as much, what we saw Bam do was make clutch shots and big moments. And that has immense value, even if Tyler was responsible, which I'm sure I'll get to in a second. But I mean, yeah, bro, it was about that defense. It was about the scheme that the Miami Heat drew up. I noted it earlier in the game. What the Miami Heat did and Coach Spo did, they made the Boston Celtics play the game of 1,000 cuts. As I've been insinuating and highlighting for the last couple of months, as I've been trying to tell you, tell the people, not you specifically or Deem or whatever, but just the people, the Boston Celtics rely on shooting a ton of threes. And at some point, whether that's them missing them, whether, that's game plan and whether that's just the pace of the playoffs, they either not going to be able to get them off. They're not going to make them. It's just not going to be able to work in a playoff setting. And this is something that I preached, I screamed. And I was like, if you have the capability to throw that off, whatever that means or whatever that looks like, then you can definitely beat this team. And that was something that showed his face in game 2. They didn't get off the attempts for several reasons. One, the Miami Heat played contested defense, as I said they would in that same clip that you referenced about punching them in the mouth, Joel. But at the same time, what the Miami Heat did was guarded the three-point line with such a fervor that it forced the Boston Celtics into a bunch of tough twos. And if you're forcing them to take tough twos, not only is that an inefficient shot in this day and age of the NBA, but it's totally opposite of the way they want to play. And it's not a shot that they're accustomed to taking, so they're not going to be as successful. And you saw that highlight itself in game 2. So the Miami Heat won by 10. They don't have to sustain the same shooting because you only got to win the game by 1. They did that in Boston. So just imagine what they could do with a little regression even in Miami. Though they play better on the road, you still take the encouragement and the momentum of a home setting and a playoff setting and look at that a little different. So I mean, I'm definitely encouraged by this. Like I said, well, like they said, and like Jimmy highlighted last night after the game, don't let us get one. And they did that. It's fun to be a long series. I promise you.
Yes, sir. And I had to throw this up quickly. I was waiting for the opportunity. So in case y'all missed Jimmy's Instagram post, basically a whole troll on Jaylen Brown's little catchphrase during last year's Eastern Conference Finals matchup. But yeah, man, I mean, you said it perfectly, Kay. I mean, last night, I mean, I gotta say this, right? Some people did have us be losing to the Celtics in 5 games, but one thing that I don't think anyone was expecting, at least those who saw us losing in 5, was us stealing a game in Boston. You know, I think that comes off as a huge surprise to anyone that was trying to make any sort of predictions for
I
this.
told y'all. I thought we going to steal one. I told y'all. Anyway, I'm done.
No, like y'all was right. You and Deem especially, you know, Deem got to earn $20 in the process just from keeping the faith. So shout out to him. And I mean, listen, bro. Last night it was a great game, man. You know, we're gonna talk about more about this. But first I do want to pass the mic to you, Deem. Like, what's going on right now in your head?
Oh man, I'm super excited, man. I seen this coming. I knew it was going to come. I said we was going to win by 15. We won by 10. Doesn't matter. A win is a win, like my man K said. But
Hey
anyway,
man,
let's go
close
back.
enough. You was right.
Yeah,
You was more right than anybody on that, bro. I questioned the 10, but all hell Dean.
yeah. Shout out to no, all hell to the GOAT, man. Shout out to Spo. Like I said, bro, with him on the sideline, I don't care who's in uniform. We're not going to get swept. We have Boston number. He coached circles around any coach in the NBA, and especially Boston. Especially Boston, bro. Like he's I'm going to keep saying it. He's the greatest coach all time. He's the hands down, not even close to best coach in the NBA. So I knew we was going to get one in Boston. I said we don't get swept. Again, I do believe we could. I do believe we can win. Boston's a great team. I won't be surprised if Boston win this series, and I definitely won't be surprised if Miami win this series. But anyway, man, going back to
And
these
not to
players,
cut you out,
man.
I think that's what I tried to get off, Dame. You're a little more concise than me. You know I talk, but I think that's important. We're not saying that Miami's definitely going to beat Boston. We're not saying they're going to win every game from. But what
Yeah,
you cannot say right now is
don't
that
count them out.
definitively. That's all I'm saying.
Just
Miami
don't count
can
Miami out.
win this series.
Don't yeah. But anyway, man, shout out to Tyler, bro. Like I thought he was gonna go for a bigger game than what he did, but this was a great game from him. 24 and 14, bro, on this efficiency. Like it was a great game from him all around. And I want to give an apology to Nico because I said I don't think he can go into this environment, a hostile playoff environment in TD Garden and play how he played. He played great, bro. Like A+ performance from him. I wanted him to shoot the ball more. He went 4 for 5, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. What he had 6 assists, 9 rebounds, bro. Like A+ performance from Nico,
He
bro. Like
finished with
A+.
11, 6, and 9, like you said, 3 steals and a block, and the shots he hit was so timely.
Yeah, it
So
was
timely.
bro.
Dog, bro. A whole
A+
dog.
performance from him. Another A+ performance in my eyes go to Bam. Bam was on one. Like he played great on the defensive end. He had a lot of nice mid-range shots, time in mid-range shots. Obviously, we know how good he is on the defense. But I'd say this at Boston. Boston made a lot of great plays too. Down the stretch, they kind of faded away a lot. I think they shot selection down the stretch was pretty. It was questionable. It was questionable. And Jason Tatum, he played horrible in the fourth quarter. Like
That's what
he played
happened when you
horrible in
hit
the fourth
somebody in the
quarter.
mouth, Dean.
And again, the only thing I didn't like about this game, the only negative I think I got about this game, I didn't like how Tyler ended up on Porzingis. I didn't like that, especially early in the game. Good thing Porzingis was not hitting his shots. Porzingis had a horrible game last night. Go okay, what you want to say?
But that's what I want to ask you though. Was that by design though? Because if you think back on it, Porzingis
He got
has,
Tyler a lot in the low post too. Like it was just
I mean,
horrible.
right, I get that, but what I'm saying is Porzingis has hit that shot over top of guys, and typically he'll make that shot once or twice, right? And then because he's made it once, people won't make him keep doing it. But what
Yeah,
Spo did last night was Spo was like, okay, You're gonna have to make it every time on me because we might. I apologize. That was my dog, guys. We might end up with a short guy on you, but at the same time, you're gonna have to show me that you can make that shot time and time again. And like in the biggest moments last night, he couldn't, yo. And I think that was by design.
So you think that was you really think that was by design to have Tyler Porzingis post up on Tyler down there?
Yes, I think that Spo in those moments was like, "Yo, I'm gonna give up
I'd
something."
rather see Caleb on Porzingis.
Well, see, if Caleb is on Porzingis, Caleb can't be covering one of those wings.
I throw Bam on one of them. Either or. I throw Bam on Tatum
right.
over
that's the thing,
Jaylen Brown.
But right, okay, what you got? Let's say you put Bam on Tatum. Who you gonna put on Jaylen Brown?
Anybody. Jamie, Nico. Damn it, even Tyler at times.
I'd rather have Tyler because here's the thing. Here's the thing about Tyler. Tyler isn't a terrible defender. What gets Tyler in trouble offensively and defensively is strength and physicality. Here's the thing about KP. KP ain't never going to try to muscle you, bro. So if he going to hit that tough midi over top of you, I think that's just a position where if you spoke, you like, okay, Tyler, if you ever get there, lock in on that. Because he ain't never going to do nothing physical. If you just contest that shot, we're going to have to live with the results. Now, if he make 5 of them in a row, we'll switch. But if he off, then make him keep shooting that tough, inefficient shot. Because anybody else, like, and you saw it last night, they, like said, and I think somebody highlighted it, you know, that was what the game plan was. We're going to try to find Tyler. And then later in the game, like you said, when they were missing shots, that wasn't working.
So, okay. So, Dean, do you have anything to say before I continue the convo?
No, I'm good. I got everything off.
I think we're going to continue to challenge KP, though, and not in that specific terms. Because, you know, Spo is a chameleon. He's switching stuff up. He might go back to some concepts that work, of course. But I think whatever the game plan is, it's going to be like, we going to make sure we give everybody else the proper attention. Beat us, Kristaps.
Yo, Nico played some great defense, too, last night.
That was true.
He played some great defense. Bro,
he played Kristaps really well, too. I like the way he played him.
Me. I ain't going to lie. It shocked me. He played great defense last night.
Mm-hmm.
I give him MVP of the game. If you ask me, I know Tyler and Bam played great, but bro, Nico played a hell of a game, man. To go in that environment that young, he played a hell of a game.
I can't argue with that. His contribution all around was immensely valuable. And like you said, and this is what people forget all the time, that he's 7 foot. I mean, he's 6'10", but he's 7 foot.
Yeah, 7 foot with shoes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like he doing all this with that size. You talk about it. It's what the Miami Heat have been missing for years, at least 4 years. Perfect power forward next to Bam. And we finally found that dude.
Oh. So I do want to ask this question to you guys going back to this game because, you know, there's a lot of, you know, convos going on after it. And, you know, one thing that people are mentioning about last night when they look at the Heat's performances, oh, well, the Heat was able to get one on Boston. But, you know, and we know, the many things that went well for the Heat. But still, I just want to hear y'all's argument on this case just to provide our simple counterclaims to this. You know, there was a lot of people coming out talking about, okay, well, the Heat went out and they hit all those triples. Once the threes don't exactly fall like the way how they did in a game like last night, you know, how's things going to go for the Heat after that? You know, does things simply fall back to earth for Miami? And, you know, how does it work out for the Heat after that? Will they still be able to pull, as the folks call, the black magic off? So I just want to know from you guys, like,
yeah, let me go first.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with what Kay was saying on the last pod is Boston shoots a lot of 3-pointers, and they shot a lot of 3-pointers last night. They just missed them, and Miami was hitting them. That's the difference. And if it's the other way around, Miami's going to find different ways to beat Boston. They have done it in the past. They have they're going to continue to find different ways to beat Boston. It's not just about the 3-pointers. If Boston hit those same 3-pointers that Miami was missing, Miami will still win this game.
All right. KU?
I agree with Deem on that last point he made. But what I disagree with him on is Boston didn't shoot a lot last night, yo. Like I've been saying, they usually shoot about 40. They only got up 32 last night. And I think that's the brilliance of
They only
Spo.
shot 32?
They only shot 32 threes last night. According to
Bro, why I feel like they shot more than 32?
According to the box score, they went 12 of 32. Jason Tatum had 6, Drew had 4, JB had 9. Of course, he hit those back-to-back in that big stretch for him. Derek White had 4. KP was 0 of 4. Al Horford was 1 of 1. He hit that one in that left side corner that pissed me off. And then Sam Hauser was 2 of 4. But yeah, they only shot 32, bro. So I feel like, of course, they're gonna come out and get more attempts up. But I think that's the thing about it. When the Miami Heat go into a game with the mindset of we gonna shoot a bunch of threes, I think that lends itself into the mindset of making them. I think when they go into a game with a different game plan and then they're forced to try to switch or flip the shooting switch on, I think that's when it doesn't work. But I think here's the thing. The Boston Celtics show, their 3-point defense isn't good. Their 3-point defense isn't good. That's why a lot of their games end up 140, 120, 140, 116. It's like they're still allowing the other team to knock down shots. And they also aren't a great fourth quarter team. As you saw in game 1, as you've seen across the last 2 weeks of the regular season where the Hawks were able to beat them twice in back-to-back games. And as you saw against the Miami Heat in game 2, because Jason Tatum came up as small as Peyton Pritchard. I mean, was that Jason or Deuce out there for crying out loud? But I mean, I just think that the Miami Heat's 3-point shooting is going to be something that we see continue, because also when you look at the history of the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics over the last couple of years, this is how the Miami Heat have beat them. This is what they do when they're playing Boston. Not only have they beat them this way, but they beat Milwaukee this way. I mean, when the Miami Heat go into a game, and I quiet it down to let you all know the seriousness of which I speak. When the Miami Heat go into a game with the mindset that, hey, we're going to shoot 53s, they can make 20 of them. And that's 60 points. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Now, and I got something else to say, speaking of threes. Duncan wanted to smoke with everybody last night. His back eye.
No, the only thing, Duncan had a lot of good looks. He just wasn't making them. Like he
absolutely.
He just wasn't knocking them down.
But that's a rhythm thing, though.
Yeah,
that's a rhythm thing.
Later
in the game, at the top of the key, you see how he dribbled. Bam set the pick. He got his one dribble, squared up, knocked that thing down. Like that. That was when that touch was coming back. Like you said, though, it's just he's shaking off the rust. Because, when it's your back, that's your whole body. Yeah. When you're a shooter, a movement guy like Duncan, you just got to trust it again. Trust that when you go up to take that jumper, your ankle seize up at midair. And, I think, as you mentioned, Dame, as the game went on, he started to trust it more. He'll be all right. I'm telling you, Terry and Duncan, and that back. And I know Duncan had a couple shots last night, but we know he ain't himself. And maybe he won't 100% be himself, but he's only going to get better. So, that's all, man. I'm just saying. You can put your brooms up. I know that.
Exactly. And I just want to mention one thing. Like, everyone gets mad when you look at the clutch games the Heat had this year, but look at Boston, man. Like we was talking about, they're not exactly a good team at closing games out this year, And this is what happens when all you've been
Great point, Joel. Great point.
Like, yeah, that's a great point. But that's one thing I hate with Heat fans. Why does it matter how many clutch games they've been in this year? Like, why does people care about that? You should
because people want something to complain about. People want something to complain about. Just like, here's my thing: they complain about Tyler not getting better or Bam not being better, but then they complain about Jimmy giving them the opportunities to be better throughout the regular season. Like, we don't know what Jimmy gonna do when things matter the most. It's like, for me, yeah, I want to see my team win every game in the regular season, but I know that's not feasible. I do want to see put themselves in a position to make a run to, the postseason. But at the same time, if you're playing clutch games, what I do know is that when a clutch game come up or when a tight butt moment come up in the postseason, you're going to be ready because you
can handle it. Yes.
Tons of times already this year.
Exactly.
Listen, man, I complain a lot about the Heat, but I ain't gonna complain about dumb stuff like that. I'm not gonna complain that we've been in 62 clutch games this year. Like, who cares?
So you mean tell me we've had 50 chances to learn how to close tight games? Amazing,
bro. Come on. I'm
Exactly.
sorry, Joe. I ain't mean to cut you off. Keep going, bro. But
Oh, no,
that
you
just
good,
pissed me
bro.
off.
Oh no, Dame. Good point.
Nah, because exactly this is what's gonna help the Heat. Because if you're Boston, I mean, shoot, I wish I played more clutch games because you spent a good part of this year blowing teams out that
Got to within 5 like 4 times.
Mhm.
Listen, got to within 5 like 4 times. And you the best team in the solar system, according to every analyst in the world. And you got to within 5 4 times. But you couldn't walk them and shut that door. You couldn't open that door to shut that door. I mean, it's something to be said to what y'all saying. I mean, I can't speak to it enough. Kudos to y'all.
Right, because it's like, it's like when you a pilot, right? And it's like you gotta be able to handle the turbulent airs or whatever. You're bound to have great flights. Like the odds of you going through your storms and stuff is probably not gonna be likely. You probably gonna see the weather forecast most times when you in the air, and it's probably good. You're gonna have a nice,
Joe
no.
said everybody can fly pain when the weather good outside. Oh, he's taking shots. Oh. You
Hey,
call the
listen,
Boston Celtics Denzel in flight. They drunk.
listen,
Oh.
man. Like
Oh.
when you a talented pilot, as people say they are with the Celtics, like you're gonna be able to fly just fine when the sun is out and everything. But when the winds start coming and you going through a little turbulence, how you gonna be able to land that plane? And
You
people when
mean when you in hurricane country?
Yup. Well, exactly that. So I'm just saying, being able to go through that turbulence, that's what helps you because you're gonna be able to go through those situations and be able to understand, all right, we're going through this situation again. I know how to land this plane. We just gonna have to make it through and go from there. That's what the Miami Heat has been through. And although it's not as violent as other plane crashes in real life, they're able to go through this stuff and be able to learn from it. And that's what puts them in this situation where when it's time to actually go into and fly like a real flight, no more flight simulator like what you see in the regular season, they're able to go out there and be able to land that plane just right. Even if they're missing a guy like a Jimmy Butler or a Terry Rozier. You know what
You,
I'm
you,
saying?
you had
So
me a little scared, Joe. But speaking of landing planes, you brought it back in. I'm glad you know what I'm saying? You had me a little shook. I mean, you was like, whoa, brother, hold on now.
So that's my question for Boston. You did good all this time. You had all these sunny skies, never had to worry about any sort of adversity whatsoever. But when the storms start coming out and it's time for you to be able to land that plane, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be, oh well, I've never dealt with these types of storms before. I never dealt with a thunderstorm in the middle of the flight. How am I gonna be able to land this thing? Is that what's gonna be your mentality? Or are you gonna be able to look at that and be like, okay, we've been through this before. I'm gonna be able to land this and we're gonna get there safely. Which one is it gonna be? And so far, that first option of what I just said is looking like that's gonna be the issue. Because we saw that a couple times in the regular season, as you mentioned, Kay, with those 2 games against Atlanta and that 1 game against Cleveland, and with some of the other losses too, I believe. But also last night as well. And you can even take it a step further in game 1, even though we lost that. Because you saw Miami going on that huge run. And even though we probably should have lost that by 40, the Heat still found a way to trim it down a bit. Where they was on what, a 26-9 run or something like that. I saw something crazy. I wasn't watching the game too much because it was a Sunday and my brother had church. But even then though, it was looking, they were still trying to cut
They
back.
were up by like they were up by like 30 at one point.
Exactly. So all of that. But yesterday, the storms came out. Boston didn't have an answer for it. And, it wasn't exactly a safe landing for that plane. So that's going to be the question for them moving forward. Because the Heat going to continue to punch, claw, and do whatever. It don't matter who on that floor for them. They going to find a way to do it. And when it's time for a close game, fourth quarter, and it's, down to the wire, you can't trust this Celtics team right now because what is Jason Tatum gonna do, bro? I'm genuinely asking because all I've seen is brick after brick after brick. I mentioned this earlier. You only shoot 1 shot in the fourth quarter, man. That's not acceptable. We would rip Jimmy's head off if this was the case. But Jason's like, and you know what? We didn't, like you said earlier, Kate. We wasn't seeing what's it, Jason Tatum? Not even Deuce Tatum actually. We saw that one dude I be seeing all over social media. That one guy that be looking like Jason Tatum doing all them dances and
The
stuff on
TikTok
TikTok.
guy.
Yeah, so
He
that
dropped the video like an hour after the game. He was like, he put me in the
yo
game. So
yo now he's starting to milk this stuff too. He got the whole set Tatum jersey and everything doing it. Celtics fans got pissed off, so they got him suspended on Twitter, which is crazy. But yo, overall, man, I just gotta say, bro, this was a great win though, and just keep it close, man, because it's obvious the Celtics ain't gonna be able to handle much of that adversity when it's time for that fourth quarter, and it's a very close game. So overall, man, I feel good. Anyone got some more thoughts they want to share on this?
I do want to ask a question before we move on to game 3. You know what I'm saying? I've asked a question in previous Heat versus Main pods, and of course, Biz Breaks or whatever. Catch me and Dame on the Biz Break, whoever we might have on, Joel from time to time, Alex, shout out Kev, all that. But I've asked this question on different, you know what I mean, iterations of, you know what I mean, our presentation or whatever. And you've spoke about it several times here, Joel. How are we feeling about Jason Tatum as a clutch performer right now? And I said it. I don't believe in that dude. Like, it hadn't really dawned on me because I gave him the same pass that everybody else did. Well, he's only 24. He's only 25. He's been in so many playoffs. But it's like over the last year or so, you know, as people been highlighting, you know, specifically the NBA and TNT guys, I want to say Shaq. He kind of highlighted it. And I'm like, you know what? He really ain't got that dog in him. And I've been looking at him a lot over quarter. I've been looking at him a lot over this past year, looking for those moments. And I told y'all a couple of weeks for the regular season, and at that moment, it burned in my head. He got Pat Bev on his hip. You need a bucket. Ain't nobody between you and the cup but Pat Bev. And you telling the man to pass it to JB on the wing. And not just to pass it to him so you can drop down to the block and get better positioning. You want the rock to go away from you in the most crucial moments. And to the point, Joel, you said one shot. And was that shot that Jaime clamped him on?
Was it? Because I don't remember him getting any buckets whatsoever.
If he only took one shot, then it was that one that Jaime clamped him on.
I think it was. It's insane to think about.
There you go. That's all. I mean, what do y'all think about Jason Tatum? What's your take, Deem? I want to know what you think specifically. Like, do you still view him as clutch, or does he have to reprove his clutch gene at this particular moment?
Well, obviously, I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan. I just hate the team that he plays on.
And that's why I wanted to hear your opinion specifically.
The thing I'm going to say is, I don't think he's I think he's on the verge of becoming a great player. I just don't think he's clutch yet. I just don't think he has that clutch gene in him yet. And some players have it immediately. Some guys come in with it. Some guys, it grows on them. I think it's going to grow on him. He needs to keep failing to get that. It took a lot of guys to get that. You look at his idol, his favorite player, Kobe Bryant. It took him years to get that.
I was just about to say he better text Kobe.
Yeah, it took him years to get that clutch gene. It took years for Kobe to keep failing to, to become that guy Kobe we all end up loving. Now, again, to K's point.
But by year, let me see, what Jason Tatum, year 7?
I think, what year Tyler in?
Tyler's year 5.
So yeah, this is what, year 6 for him?
7.
Oh, I thought Tatum came in 19. Ain't he 26?
Yeah.
He came in 19?
He was drafted.
He came in with Lonzo and them. When Lonzo and them come, I thought Lonzo and them came in 20.
Hold on, I'm gonna go look at it.
They both came in 2017. This is their 7th year.
Yeah, he came with Bam. He was in the same draft with Bam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right, whatever year Bam's in.
So this year's 7. Hold on, I'm looking at his B-ball reference right now just to be sure. Okay, no.
Whatever year Bam came in.
They say 6 years, so I guess
17,
18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23, 20. Yeah, that's 7. So when
that's 7.
He has to complete this year before B-ball reference gives him that year. Okay, so this year's 7.
This year's 7.
Then Kobe, that's what I said though. By year 7, let me go just to be sure. I don't want to spit no erroneous stuff. I want to think Kobe had it by year 7 though, bro.
Yeah, because that was 3 by the time Kobe was in that 7th year.
Yeah, but listen, let's go to but Kobe wasn't. You can say that. Yeah, I guess you can say that. I guess you can say that. But listen, this thing I had with Tatum is, I don't think he's a great player yet. I think he's a damn good player. He can be a great player. That clutch, that's the reason why Boston hasn't won a championship yet, because he's their best player and he doesn't have that clutch gene in him just yet. Not saying he's never going to get it. He just doesn't have it in him just yet.
I'm about to give you credit, Dean. You called me out the other day when I was like, he's a superstar. He was like, nah, he's a hooper. I'm gonna give you credit because you're right. He's not a superstar because he isn't clutch yet.
And let me just say one thing real quick, just to add on. I will it's more of a question to further continue this. Do y'all find it a little jarring though that even after, because like people always mention, JT's playoff experience and all that, 7 years deep into his career that he's
98 games. That's what they like to tell you.
Yep. So I just want to know, doesn't it come off a little jarring though that even despite all the trips to the conference finals, even despite the trip to the finals, despite all the experience he's had, does it not come off though as a little jarring that we still haven't seen him become that type of clutch player even after, witnessing and being able to experience everything he's been able to experience in such a short span of time? Because he's been able to witness so much. Like, he was even in the conference finals just his rookie year and then so on. We've seen him witness so much since then. So I gotta ask, like, does it come off at least just a little bit jarring though that like
I'm gonna go first.
7 years in and all those experience that he still hasn't been able to be that type of clutch player? Or like how we feel about that? Because it's like it makes you wonder.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say no, it's not. Because when we look at all-time great players, we can look at the Michael Jordans of the world, the LeBron James of the world, and we can see, look how long it took those guys to win one. Look how long it took Michael Jordan to get over the hump. Look how long it took Michael Jordan to finally beat the Celtics or the Bad Boys Pistons. And look at Shaquille O'Neal, how long it took him. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to say it's not crazy yet. Now, when we get to year 9 and year 10, and we look at Tatum and he's still the same player and he doesn't have that championship yet, or he doesn't have that MVP yet, then we can start having the conversation saying, yo, this guy's he may be overrated. Because we look at guys like Kevin Durant, look how long it took them to win. Look at guys like Steph Curry. So I'm not going to say like it takes. And then the thing with Tatum is he had success at a young age. So his rookie year, his second year, like he was going to the conference finals. He was putting up big numbers in the playoffs, and he always had pretty good teams around him. So we expect him to be on a different level than what he already is. Like I was telling Kay, I don't think he's a great player just yet. So no, to me, it's not surprising that he hasn't had quote unquote more success than that the media is putting on him. Again, he's in Boston. Everybody in the media, they love Boston. It's a sports town, and you look at the history, it's a great history, and so they labeling players a little more different. I think if he was on, say, a Miami Heat, if he was on the Heat, he wouldn't be getting as much love as he's getting in Boston. I don't think I love Tatum. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Obviously, he went to Duke. I'm a huge Duke fan, but he's not what everyone think he is right now. Is he a top 10 player in the NBA? 100%, I believe he is. I just don't think he's a great player just yet.
I respect that, especially because, like you mentioned, a good point right there, D. Because it's like, some of these players, it's like you gotta wonder how much of the hype they do deserve. Because, and we've said this, and I believe a couple pods in the past, like Boston media is basically like the mafia, bro. Because the hype you get is so much more than what you might even deserve. And it was because of that reason where it seemed like Celtics could have potentially gotten 4 All-Stars this year when they probably only deserved just 2, and going from that point on. So
I'd say they just deserve 1, and that was Tatum. I don't even think Jaylen Brown should have been an All-Star this year.
I mean, fair point. So, Kay, how about you though?
I mean, here's the thing. I agree with Dean, but to a point. I think that he doesn't get 10 years. I think next year is the Requiem. And I say that because you look at
wait, hold on, Kay. Wait.
Go ahead.
Wait, I don't mean to cut you off, but what I'm saying is I'm not giving him 10 years. I'm saying if he gets to that year 10 and he doesn't have an MVP or a championship, then it's like, well, damn, bro. I don't want to say I'm giving him 10 years. I'm just saying,
Right.
like,
I
if we get to
understand.
that point,
I
no, but
understand.
I agree. Next year is
Right.
like, bro, you got to win at
I,
least an MVP or something. Damn.
I think we really begin to start. I would say maybe 10 is when we lock in to like, all right, he's always been a little overrated. He might be a
Yeah.
2, but he's really
Yeah.
a 3. But I think next year is when that conversation starts to bubble up. Like, yo, show me something. Because just a couple of those guys you mentioned. I'm gonna go back to Kobe in a second because we was talking about him. But looking at LeBron, who we had eyes on him since he was 16, St. Vincent St. Mary's. He won his first one at 27. Second year in Miami, of course. Looking at Steph, of course, he had the ankle issues, had to get stronger. He won his first one at 26. Now, mind you, of course, Steph didn't come into the league like these boys did at 18, 19. Steph came into the league a little later than these dudes. I think Steph did what, 2, 3 years in college?
I think
He
too.
was 21 before. Yeah, he was 21. I think he did 3, bro. I think he left out his junior year. Because he could have left after his sophomore year. That's when he arrived on the scene, but he would have been a late first. But I think he was an early first after his junior because he was already 21 when he got there. But just looking at those guys, bro. Here's the thing. T-Mac was a great player, bro. But
Ooh, I love where this is going. Keep going, K. Cook up.
T-Mac was a great player, bro. And if T-Mac back stayed on a whole in one whole piece, we might not be having these conversations. But that's the difference between being T-Mac and being Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Point blank period.
Bro, great point.
Great point. And he'll never, and in my mind, he'll never be Kobe. Because even if Kobe didn't have it, there won't never gonna be a situation where we looking at Kobe like, you only shot one time?
Oh, well, wait. I can point out a specific game in the playoff against Phoenix where Kobe
How old was he?
Come on. He was this was after Shaq. This was after the Shaq era. This was I don't remember the exact year.
Okay, I'll give you that.
This might have been the year that Steve Nash won the MVP the second time. This might have
okay.
I don't remember the year. I gotta go back and look.
After a dude has proved a certain thing, though, we give you a little merit. All I'm saying is before
he hasn't no. But Kobe was still having to prove his point that he can win without Shaq that time. Remember, he had T.Y. 3. They won 3 with Shaq. I don't remember the year. We gotta go back and check.
But even with Shaq, though, I don't think we question whether Kobe was a killer. I think we just question whether he could be that killer without Shaq. I think we knew very early on Kobe will.
You're right. We don't know at all if Tatum could be that killer. We don't know at all if Tatum could be that killer.
That's all I'm saying.
We knew Kobe could be the killer. Just can he be without? Okay, you're right.
And with all this help that Tatum got, if you can't be a killer with all this help you got, how can you be a killer without Shaq? That's all I'm saying. I ain't talking about Kobe. I'm using it phonetically, just speaking like if Tatum didn't have all the help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, I was not expecting that one question to dive into all of that, but
hey, look, man, we hate the Celtics, bro. We hate the Celtics, and we want them to fail. I mean, I know you want Jason Tatum to succeed, Dean, but you know what I'm saying, figuratively speak. We want them to fail.
Absolutely.
I hope Joe Mazzulla go outside today and his car don't start.
I mean, I couldn't agree no more, man. So overall, bro, and there's a lot to expect for the Heat going into this game 3, man, because now we're up. It's a tie series, and we have home court advantage. And it sounds easy to say, oh well, if we can protect home court advantage, we go up 3-1. But obviously, it might not exactly be that case because this Celtics team doesn't go down without a fight. Well, the first punch been thrown, so I don't know exactly how quick they're gonna recover from it, but we'll have to wait and see. But with that all being said, though, I do want to know what is y'all's expectations going into this game 3, and what do y'all expect Miami to do to some way somehow get that win and go up 2-1? We'll start off with you, Alex, for this one. How we feeling?
Sorry, I'm late.
I'm sorry. Did everybody notice that Alex has changed his his header, it had a 4, it had from as in the Heat were gonna lose in 4, and it suddenly changed to Heat in 5. My.
We got a tables
My.
turn.
I told
Wow.
y'all.
You know what I'm
I told
saying?
y'all. Like my man. Well, he not my
Wait,
man, but
you have to say though.
Culture cocaine is a hell of a drug.
I'm a very superstitious person, so it's like I don't know if this is good for us. I don't know if you turn to the dark side and help Miami. So
yo, I ain't gonna lie. Yesterday, watching the game, I was trying to reverse psychology. The game, like obviously, I picked us to lose, but the whole time I'm sitting there like wanting us to win. So some kind of way that kind of sort of works. So I totally understand what you're saying. Like I low key should just keep being like, no, we're gonna lose. But obviously, in my head, I'm still like praying and hoping that we win and see how that goes. But to be totally honest, I mean, I did this same thing last year when we played the Bucks, and it ended up working out where we beat them in 5. So I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see.
I'm just saying, like, because we gotta keep doing what we did last night. Whatever y'all was doing last night, whatever y'all was wearing, whatever stuff you was doing before, after, and during the game, do it completely again. Repeat that whole routine. I still
I
got my
literally,
plastic bag with me because maybe this was helping
I'm
us win.
dead.
I don't know. So
I was matching them last night. I had on some black cargo pants, some black Air Maxes, and a black Jimmy Butler jersey. I was acting like I was out there with him.
all right. So I just gotta say, man, just do exactly what y'all was doing. All right. Let's not try to mess up the superstition we got going on, man. Because we need everything possible to help this team get this win tomorrow night. Or no, Saturday night, I mean. But I would say what you were saying though.
Shoot. Well, going off that point that Joel just made, which I'll just take and run with it. I think that he gonna lose. So we just gonna go with that. Just go see what happens. Uh, those green people are frauds. I just had to at least say that. But no, the Heat got their one game, and we gonna lose the game. LOL.
I respect that. Let's see. Kay, how about you, man?
Hey, look, man, as I've been saying, I couldn't begin to tell you how this thing is gonna go, but what I do know is it's gonna be a hotly contested game. I'm gonna say it. I think the Miami Heat gonna win this series.
Okay,
I don't know if they.
you were positive last game, so I will accept you being positive now. Because right now,
I think the Miami Heat gonna win this series, and I say that because everything we've talked about with Tatum is resonating in me, bro. I don't think that
This is a proven series for Tatum, man. It's a proven series.
And that's what I'm saying. This is a requiem on Tatum.
Just for Tatum, for Boston, period.
I mean,
yes, bro, but
it's
so important for Jason Tatum. And you know who the biggest, but see, now we're going even deeper. You know who the biggest scapegoat in it all is? The biggest scapegoat is the dude making $400 million right now. But I think that Tatum has to lead them. And if Tatum can't lead them, because like I said, we're going to continue to make KP beat us. And I don't know if he's capable because he don't want to be physical enough. So if you're going to make him take them inefficient middies all game, we won just simply by nature of him taking that. Right. But I think it's going to come down to, can Tatum close the door on us in the fourth quarter when it mattered? Because I'm telling you, I think we figured out how to keep them from running off on us early. Mm-hmm. And if we can just make it ugly enough, it comes down to, can that dude beat us? Can he make enough shots in the fourth quarter to beat us? And first of all, he got to take enough. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. We've had their numbers for the last 3 or 4 years. In their game 7, one bounce Jimmy shot, you know, it's hoops. So things go your way, they don't go sometimes. But overwhelmingly, throughout the course of the history, no matter who's been in the lineup, the Miami Heat have had their numbers. And if we ended one last night in the way that we did, I don't know if I feel this confident. If we win by 1 or 2, that's something different. But the Miami Heat won going away. And they did it not just because they made more shots. They made the Boston Celtics look normal. They made them look normal, and that's important. So I'll say it. I think they're gonna win this series, man. Because I told y'all yesterday. I told y'all with Terry what? Day before yesterday. I told y'all with Terry we could beat these dudes, and now we bought ourselves another couple days.
And I just want to say real quick, it's like what I mentioned before, to tie in with that. Can JT land this plane for him? And also, I just gotta say, because we mentioned it's a proven series, it's got to be a series that Tatum's got to prove himself in. Doesn't it low-key feel a little sad, though, that this is against the 8th seed that doesn't have their star or their starting point guard, low-key? And I don't want to really turn this into a whole discussion because we're 15 minutes in, and we can talk about this all day, but that low-key, when I heard that this series that Tatum's got to prove himself in, it's like, against it, and I understand it's to Miami Heat, but like, and everyone talk about the black magic.
It's like arch nemesis, though, man. But you got a point.
And Boston doesn't believe this is an AFC team. They're not looking at the Heat as an AFC team. I don't think no team in the NBA is looking at the Miami Heat as an AFC team. Now, I guarantee you, the Boston Celtics, the fans, they might have wanted to play Miami in the first round, but that organization, they didn't want to see us in the first round. I guarantee you that.
They were praying somebody would eliminate us. They were hoping.
They were hoping we got the 7th seed. That's what they was hoping. They didn't want to see us in the first round.
We said the opposite side of the bracket, and if we do see them, it's when everything.
Yeah.
So in other words, they was probably hoping, they was watching that Sixers Heat game, to being Sixers fans, hoping they find no, they was Heat fans that night, hoping we find a way to win that. But then they probably felt a little better when Jimmy got hurt or something. You never know. And then they're thinking, okay, well, maybe Kobe White just had 42 against them. I think who was it? Atlanta, right? They was able to beat them. So you know what? Kobe's playing, Jimmy's not. So, maybe they can find a way to pull out. And, obviously we didn't. And, it went from, obviously they didn't. It went from there, and we saw it ended up with now Miami playing Boston. So all I know is this. The Celtics, certain players on that team have always been front runners, and to see us go there and handle business, like, you cannot make this any better for me. So overall, it's going to be something interesting, but I don't want to hog the mic too long. Deem, how about you? What's your expectation for this game?
I think this game is, I'm not going to say this is a super important game, but hopefully Miami does get the win. I think, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I think, on this 2-game home stretch we got, I think we'll split. I don't know which one we'll win. Hopefully we'll win both of them. Hopefully we won both of them. Man, I'm trying to make my way.
Winning the first one. Best case scenario is winning the first one.
Yeah, absolutely right. And then with the momentum that Miami has right now, listen, we turning the tables, going to home with the momentum is looking on our side, man. Hopefully Miami does get the win. I'm trying to make my way down there for the next Friday game, May 3rd. Listen, man,
we see you getting money. We see you getting money.
I'm crossing my fingers, man. I'm crossing my fingers. But I think Miami can pull this game off. When is the game? Saturday? I don't even know when the game is.
Saturday. So do we win or lose, Steve? You gotta call it right now. Do we win or lose game 3?
I think we win because we have momentum right now and we're going back home. So I think we won.
Because that's important because you had us winning the last game too. So we gotta keep the superstition. So you had me nervous for a second. I'm sorry. So for me personally, I gotta keep it up too on my end as well. So I'm gonna say exactly what I said last time, and it's the fact that God is with us. All right, man. Like God, he didn't fail us. He won't start now. He will never do that. He was with us last game. His presence filled TD Garden last night, and he worked through time.
And believe me, God ain't been in that building in a long time.
Well, maybe for Game 7 last year.
Baby, they still hang people like 2 blocks away from the arena. What I heard.
Well, God, from a fair distance, he was working though. So overall, man, like he was working, and that's a huge part of why we won. So all glory to God that we got that win. And, he's going to continue working through our players and, working through them, working through them as a vessel to continue to carry on the good work. And that's to hopefully get closer to that championship. So I'm going to leave it all in God's hands. And if it's his will, we will win this game. So that's all I got to say about that. With all of this being said, we've been on here for almost 55 minutes now. Does anyone have any closing remarks before we officially wrap this up?
Heat in 6.
Listen, man, I just got to say, we did win that game a little too early than what fans who had us in Celtics in 5 was expecting. So the fact that we won that second game in TD Garden, that is a massive deal, and don't let people tell you otherwise. Alex, you had something you want to say?
Basically, I just want it's jumping.
You said you had something you wanted to add it to the Tatum point real quick?
Yeah. Basically, I agree with you, Kay, in regards to what a lot of the stuff that you were saying in regards to Tatum. Like right now, especially if those guys don't get it done this year, and I think with them signing Drew to an extension next year, well, for the next few years,
we fry him on the next best game breakdown.
Yeah, y'all, you have no choice. The deck is stacked in your favor, and if you still like everybody's trying to crown you the next guy for the league, and you can't get it done, then that's a huge issue, dog.
I guess there isn't no such thing as playoff Tatum.
Wow. Wow. Yo, the jokes write themselves sometimes, man.
That's a bar.
They do,
That's
man.
a bar.
They do.
I can't wait till we beat these guys. We using that.
I'm glad Kay caught that. I'm glad Kay caught that because I was gonna bring up the commercial, but he just brought it up, so I didn't even need to say nothing. Like they really tried to crown Buddy. They tried to steal Jimmy whole flow, word for word, bar for bar. They really did.
You know what? Jimmy's not the type of guy to criticize nobody, but like the way how he posted this on Instagram, it would be the most hilarious thing. Imagine if
for him to post his face over there.
Like imagine if the Heat, finish the series, right? They win this, and then after the game, you go on Instagram and you see Jimmy just post that one little video, that one little clip from that commercial,
and then he put like incoming Stitch, and then it's Jimmy going like,
"Oh my gosh, bro!"
But yeah, yo, I think it's gonna be real rough for Jason Tatum, who as well as Dean said, I like Jason Tatum a lot. He's really skilled. He's a really good basketball player. But that's now I remember. Now that's where I was going with this point, which made me say what I said in regards to wanting to say something. Does he need to take a trip down to South Beach and join the Miami Heat so he can learn how to be that number one guy?
Let's do it.
Somebody else did.
I'll take it.
Let's bring it. Yo, listen.
Exactly.
Yo, him and Bam is really close, man. It might just happen.
Hey man,
he might got to get that Boston stench off him to finally win a ring.
He the ops right now though. I'm with it. I'll take him, but
he's definitely an op right now.
He's an op.
He's not an op for me. He's just on an op team.
Right,
he's on an op block. He's not an op for me. He's just on an op block.
Hey man, Heatles 2.0, Bam, Donovan, and Tatum. I'm all for it, man. Let's make it happen weekend. But that's we
said too much. Wrap it up.
Yeah, that's for a couple years from now. But aside from that, man, all I will say is this:
because right now we smoking Tatum Pat.
Exactly, freaking exactly right now. Because all I gotta say is this, and then we gonna wrap it up from there. The Celtics right now, like I said before, can they be able to land that plane right now? Because the way how it's going, like you got fans out there, like it goes back to what you said last pod, Kate. Like you threw that one punch and now everybody going crazy. Celtics fans putting "we believe" on Twitter, bro. We believe in Boston. Y'all are the number 1 seed and y'all trying to act like y'all the 07 Warriors right now, okay? Can y'all be so for real? Y'all got oldest talent, talked all that talk, and now y'all trying to play the victim with this "we believe" nonsense. Stop it, all right? But you know what? Patience. We gonna have our time though. We gonna have our time to really dive into this. So all I gotta say is to Boston, like what Jimmy posted. Don't let us get 1 times 3 times 3 since we already got the other one. So don't let us get 1 times 3, and we'll go from there because I will be insufferable if I have to do a pod after the Heat potentially eliminate Boston. So don't let it happen, Boston. 'Cause that's going to be a nightmare pod by then. Aside from that, any final words before we officially close out?
Bill Simmons gonna delete his Twitter if Boston lose.
He better. And so let's go. I heard from Deem. Alex, any final words?
Like you said, I'm gonna just stay on the same train I was on. I hope they put us out of our misery. LOL.
Exactly, man.
I wonder what Joe Cronin's doing.
Screw him, man. Listen, we in the playoffs, and we already got people thinking we about to win, go on another magical run. Meanwhile, they have to make all these decisions with their roster because they didn't expect to be as bad as they ended up being this year. So screw him, screw that team. They can all rot in hell. Aside from that, man, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Heat vs. the World. Make sure to follow all of us on Twitter, K@K_Seda_K. Make sure to follow Deem at BLDeem. Alex at _Coach Lewis 1, me at Joel K Jacob _ and Heat vs. the World at HVTW Podcast. Follow us on all platforms, man. And also make sure y'all check out all of our stuff going on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe. Got so much stuff heading y'all way. Heat vs. the World, Biscayne Breakdown, Panthers vs. the World, and so much more. So do not miss it. And then also, last but not least, man, make sure y'all check out everything on the socials and all that because we're going to have a good time, and hopefully we got another magical run in us. So with that all being said, man, let's go Heat. Let's keep it going, man. Let's send these green frogs home, and let's go from there. Aside from that, hit my music because we out, and God be with us.
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time with a brand new episode of the Heat vs. the World Podcast.